Here's a quick overview of the chapter 23 in Croy, which looks at the subjunctive mood. We're just going to look at the forms and its two most common functions. So all along we've been learning active indicative present endings, o, ace, a, amen, ete, usi. The subjunctive endings, o, ace, a, omen, ete, osi, you'll notice that omicrons swell to omegas and epsilons turn into etas. That's the easiest way to recognize the subjunctive is long connecting vowels. These long connecting vowels are even easier to see in the middle passive forms. Here are the indicative middle passive endings. And here are the subjunctive middle passive endings, where in each case you can see the omicron connecting vowel expanded to the omega, epsilon to eta, and so on. A reminder that one of the most common occurrences of middle passive endings are on deponent verbs like erkomai. So erkomai is not really passive. It's formally passive, but it's deponent, so it just means I come. And if we wanted to say in the subjunctive mood, I come, would that I come, or in order that I come, we would change erkomai to erkomai with this subjunctive middle passive ending. The two most common uses for the subjunctive are purpose clauses with hina and conditionals. We'll start with a couple examples of hina, which is always followed by the subjunctive to express purpose. In order to blank, whatever the verb in the subjunctive is, fills our blank. Let's take some examples from the Gospel of John. We get two in a verse we've already read. John 1:7, hutas eilthen eis marturion. That guy, namely John the Baptist, eilthen came, eis toward witness or testimony. He came for testimony. And to express that idea again, hina marturese peri tu photos, in order that he might testify about the light, in order that all might believe through him. Let's look at those two hina clauses. Hina marturese. How do we parse marturese? Well, first, let's think of the principal parts. Martureo, martureso, and marturesa. This is an epsilon contract verb. We get a predictable future and a predictable aorist. To get the subjunctive, we have to get rid of the temporal augment and get rid of the first aorist ending. So our first aorist stem is marturese. And then we're going to add our active subjunctive endings. One thing to note here is that unlike the indicative, in the subjunctive mood, there's one set of endings for the present tense and for the aorist tense, which makes it simpler to conjugate the subjunctive. So marturese is the aorist subjunctive in order to bear witness. Let's look at our next phrase, hina pantes, in order that all might believe through him. In this case, we have pistauo, pistauso, epistausa. And again, we're going to get rid of the temporal augment, get rid of the conjugated ending. Our aorist stem is pistus, and we're going to add our third person plural active subjunctive ending, osi, with a new movable, in order that they might believe. Notice that in both cases, hina is followed by an aorist tense, even though the notion inherent in the notion of purpose is something future, in order that they will believe, they should believe. But when the aorist loses its temporal augment, it loses its temporal sense, the sense of time. So the aorist doesn't point to past time in the subjunctive mood. The second most common use of the subjunctive are with conditionals like eon or haton. Eon is just a and on to give us if plus a subjunctive, if blah, blah, blah. Let's take another example from the Gospel of John. Eon humes, if you plural, menete, abide in the word to emo, the my word. If you abide in my word, alethos, truly, os is an adverbial ending, mathetai, disciples, of me you are. You are my disciples. Meinete. Eon calls for a subjunctive. The principal parts are meno, meno, emena. When we get rid of the augment, our aorist stem is main, and we add our active subjunctive endings. Meinete is the aorist subjunctive of meno, if you abide in my word.